Oh hey, we're back, and in this video I'm going to be talking about my favorite CHH projects from the months of January and February 2025. Hopefully in this video you'll come away with some albums to check out for yourself, and yeah, let's talk about them. Now I'm planning on doing a monthly wrap-up video like this every month, and we got off to a bit of a slow start, so I just figured that I'd do January and February together in this video. Now, I listened to a total of 50 CHH albums, EPs, projects, whatever you want to call them, in the months of January and February, all of which had been released in those months. And everything that I'm going to be talking about in these monthly roundup videos are just the albums that I feel positively about, the albums that I enjoyed. And so of those 50, I have 20 that I feel positively about, that I would review favorably, so to speak. And so, yeah, that said, not everything here is necessarily amazing, but nevertheless, just it's nice to hear some good CHH. Now, when it comes to these videos, I have a couple prerequisites. First of all, I'm not going to include any projects in here in these lists at the end of the month that are less than 15 minutes. I just figure if you're going to release like 3 songs and properly call it a project, I'll just wait until you put them on an album or something. Yeah, I just don't view it as a significant enough body of work to properly cover in a video like this, where my main objective is to kind of cover albums and longer pieces of work. And so just as an example of a project that isn't being included in this video because it's only 13 minutes long is YP aka Young Paul's Happy New Year mixtape. And I'm not recommending that you listen to it because it's only 13 minutes. Even though it's pretty great, it's not being included in this video. Take that, Young Paul, you're not being mentioned in this video. Make your albums longer.
But you did mention it in the video.
That's the joke, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like, it's a way to like include it without breaking my rules. Another thing is I'm not including any deluxe albums. Like, if the majority of the album came out last year and it's just a few songs tacked on the end, I won't be covering those. There is a deluxe album listed on here, but it's because it's entirely new batch of songs. And yeah, with that, let's get into the 20. Now, I'm not going to be listing these in any sort of ranking, but instead I'll just cover them in order of release date, from earliest released to latest release. And I'm going to be starting off with a New Year's Day release from St. Jones with a project called All the Right Reasons. Now, I really like this one. St. Jones just came across as super heartfelt, super authentic. Like, I think his personality just shone through really well. He just comes across as really winsome and genuine. And this album really plays as a testimony for St. Jones, but it never really feels like he's trying to make it all about him. Like, God is really the focus throughout the entirety of it, which is really nice and refreshing. Yeah, this was a good one to start the year off. The next album that I'm going to cover here is The Great Commission by The Commissioner. Now, this is a pretty standard, gritty CHH album that's just full of nice production and good features. If you're a fan of The Commissioner at all, this one's worth listening to. Next up, I've got the most punchline-heavy album that I'll be talking about here, that being Gil Gatsby's Walking on Water. Now, this album is just full of witty one-liners. If you're a fan of battle rap, you may really enjoy this one. There were so many great lines in this, but I wrote down some of my favorites here. Christ died for me with both arms wide like 9:15. Roman numeral 40, all I do is excel. To these vets and newcomers, I'm nice on both sides of the field like Travis Hunter. Actors get shot on the set, Alec Baldwin. Scoliosis, tell them that the ill is back. I'm a split homes in half like a duplex. Chick-fil-A, I'm in my bag with a lot of sauce. Yeah, just a lot of fun lines there. If that sounds appealing to you at all, there's a lot more lines where those came from. Next up, I have one that isn't exactly CHH. It exists more in kind of the Christian R&B realm, and that's KDNS with the album Eden. Now, this is with Rapzilla Distribution, so it's close enough to CHH, and I included it because I want to talk about it. It's really catchy and had a lot of great singing. At one point, I was listening to this in Walmart, and yeah, it was kind of hard not to dance along walking through the aisles of Walmart. So if you like dancing in public, maybe listen to this one while you're doing something. And yeah, since I've listened to it, multiple songs have been stuck in my head at different points off of this one. Overall, one of my favorite projects that's released these past couple months. Next up, I want to talk about an album made by a CHH legend, that being Moses by Seven. Seven broke his, 6-7 year hiatus coming back from retirement to release this album. Now, Seven's a guy that I've heard a lot about, but admittedly I haven't checked out much of his music in the past. But this album makes me feel like I need to. It was a lot more melodic than I expected, but I guess that makes sense with Seven hailing from Sacramento. Like, it has a West Coast sound, and Seven really knows how to ride a beat. This album runs a little long at 92 minutes, but somehow when it ended I was still a little disappointed and ran it back. Like, it didn't feel too long by any means to me. And yeah, like I said, this isn't in any order, but if it was, this would definitely be quite high. Next, I've got Armin Wake Up and Doc Beats with Armin and Doc 2. Armin Wake Up is a guy whose music I've enjoyed in the past. And if you're unfamiliar with his style, he's pretty backpack and he's very Ohio. This is a really nice reflective project. And if you're a parent, this is probably one that you'll connect with. That said, I'm not a parent and I still enjoyed it. Next, I have Adam with Constant Surveillance. Now, when I read this album name, I was a little concerned that this project would be full of just kind of government distrust stuff, which definitely isn't my favorite brand of CHH. But this project really wasn't heavy-handed in that way at all. And it has a lot of great features led by the likes of C4 Crotona, Architect, The Commissioner. Yeah, just another gritty CHH one, and if that's a realm of CHH you're into, you really shouldn't miss this one. Another project I want to cover here is Nobody's Favorite by GB. This was a super 808 heavy project, but also had some great horns. I really loved the last song on this project, and the entire thing is only 15 minutes long, so if you're looking for just a short project to put on when you have some downtime, this might be one to check out. Also want to give a mention to Inner Exodus by 99 Apex. This project feels really hearty to me and has a lot of good singing on it, and it's just really strong from a musicality sense with some cool production ideas. And yeah, if you're interested in this at all, I'd recommend checking out the song Shining Star. That was the highlight on there for me. Another one just to mention quickly is Motion Plus with the project Focus. I don't have too much to say. This one's just really nice, and it's for all the boom bap fans out there. And the last project that I'm going to talk about from January is Lo-Fi and Jesus, Sober Journal by PHRV. This guy hails from Nigeria, and this project's just a great vibe. It's really stripped back production, and I really like the inflection of his voice. It helps that he has an accent too, it just sounds cool. And yeah, he's got a really great flow. Moving into February now, I want to start off with Dizzy 8 with Season before the album. Now, the thing that holds this project back is there are a decent amount of pretty generic trap beats, but Dizzy 8's voice really carries this, both rapping and singing, and it feels like he's working with a decent sized budget too, because while the beats felt a little generic, they're super high quality, and the production is really clean. Also want to give a mention to Brandon P. and Anthem Night Worship with Trap Worship Volume 4. Now, this isn't a CHH project, but Brandon P. is obviously on some levels a legend in the CHH space, so I felt like it was acceptable for me to mention him here. This project just spewed energy, and it was a worship experience that musically added just exactly what it needed at every moment, be it drums, piano, anything else it needed instrumentally to make it compelling. If you listen to a lot of worship music, I'd recommend checking this one out. And even if you don't listen to worship music, because you maybe find it to be a little stale at times, I found this one to be quite refreshing. Next is Cure in the Light with Desires of a Pure Heart. Now, if you've listened to Cure in the Light before, in many ways you've already heard this album. By that I mean he doesn't really offer anything new musically, but it does provide a slight uptick in quality in various places. Obviously he's a good rapper, and everything here is solid. If you've enjoyed Kieran's work in the past, you'll definitely enjoy this one too. Now, this year Valentine's Day fell on a Friday, which a decent amount of artists seem to try to take advantage of. I just want to make mention of Anike's project with Love Anike. Now, this isn't one that I'm mentioning in the 20 because it's just a collection of love songs from her previous project, along with a couple new remixes. But yeah, if listening to this thing did anything, it just reminded me of how much I enjoyed her self-titled project last year and brought me back to it for the first time in a couple months. Another Valentine's themed one here is P31 by Seven. I mentioned Seven earlier. He returned from his retirement with Moses, and then followed it up just a short few weeks later with his project P31. Now, the whole P31 fad in Christian music and Christian culture is feeling a little tired to me at this point. But regardless of the name, Seven provides just a short collection of songs that really tap into kind of the melodic sound that I enjoyed most about his Moses album. And yeah, if that's your style from Seven, I'd recommend checking this one out. Next, I want to cover what appears to be a debut album from Tony Trotter with music made in the middle. Now, early on in this album, Tony Trotter introduces this idea or this theme of God in the middle, which just talks about God being in the middle of our circumstances, being in the middle of everything, that he's not just a God of beginnings and ends, but he's a God that's there with us in it. And this isn't a new idea that Tony Trotter has come up with himself, but nevertheless, it provides for a more conceptually focused project than we're used to hearing in CHH. And if that on its own isn't enough to appreciate, it's backed by a lot of fantastic work here. Tony Trotter's flow is among the best of anyone I'll mention in this video, that's been mentioned in this video, and the production provides a bit of everything. My favorite aspect of the production were a couple songs where you could hear keyboard quite far forward in the mix, but every song has something to take from it, be it strong drums, nice samples, yeah, really just anything to appreciate in good hip-hop production. And then lyrically, the idea of God being in the middle bleeds through the entirety of the track list in the form of raw honesty, the forefront of which involves Tony discussing his dad's recent death. And yeah, just talking about that, acknowledging just God's presence in that situation. And yeah, I'll leave it there for now, but as you can tell, I really enjoyed this one. And yeah, if I were to have ranked these, it would be very high in the list. It's definitely one that I recommend you check out. Next, I want to cover Sale of the Corner with Ski Mask Cologne, Right Eye. Ski Mask Cologne, Right Eye. Yeah, Sale of the Corner, bit of a legend at this point. Does what he's known to do once again here. And I love getting an AI The Anomaly appearance on this project. Really happy to see her kind of back behind the mic again. Next, I want to talk about John Soto's South Side of the Kingdom. South with an F, South Side. This is just a really nice Houston rap project. It amalgamates everything that you think of when you think of Houston rap. Chopped and Screwed, some crunk, some Dirty South. If you're into DJ Screw or Mike Jones, both of whom Soto plays homage to in different ways on this project, I really recommend checking this one out. It's Houston hip-hop at its core. And then next, I just want to talk about the project that I alluded to earlier, this being a deluxe project, but an entirely new batch of songs, that being from DKG Kai with Demon Killer University bonus pack. This one's hard-hitting and is worth your time, and if the whole Demon Killer aspect of DKG Kai's music has kind of kept you from enjoying it in the past, I recommend checking this one out. It's not super heavy handed in that way despite the name. Last but certainly not least, I have to mention, of course, West Indies by John Keith and Miles Minnick. Now, I'm going to be releasing a full-length video of this, so I'm not going to say too much, but I will say I'm loving it, really loving it. Best project of anything mentioned in this video for sure. Yeah, make sure that you subscribe and turn on post notifications so that when I post that video, you'll be subscribed so that you see the video, and then you can watch the video, and then you can comment on the video telling me what you think of the video, and we can talk about West Indies, the album, together, you and I, and you'll be watching because you'll be subscribed and have post notifications turned on. So like you'll get the video and you'll be watching it, and then we'll have a conversation about it. Speaking of having conversations, feel free to comment down below. What were your favorite albums of January and February so far in CHH? Can't wait to hear from you. Like I said, subscribe. Don't not subscribe. Subscribe and you'll see the West Indies video. It's going to be really exciting. My first review on this channel. Can't wait to do it. I will see you then.